All right, welcome to Spring Lawn Care Tips. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be showing you a few things how you can get your lawn looking great for the spring. One thing I've always wanted to do when I set my YouTube channel up is come and see Robbie at his front lawn. And today we're going to make it happen. So let's go. So the first thing we are going to do today is give it a cut. But before we can do that, we've had a bit of wind over here in Belfast over the last week. So what we need to do is pick up some of the twigs that have fallen on the lawn because they are too big for the mower to pick up.
In this video, we've partnered with Berthoud.
All right, that's all the twigs picked up. Now what Robbie's going to do now is he's going to start his New Year's resolution of burning off some of those calories. So come on, Robbie, come and get this lawn cut. Good tip going forward, because it's winter, we're not really interested in cutting the lawn really short. We are literally just taking the tops off and picking up some of the debris that's fallen. So what we can do is we can just take the mower and we can just raise it up to number 6, and we can do a line. If it needs more taken off, we can drop it down, but what we can't do is cut it short and stick the grass back on. So just raise your height, your mower, to start with, and that'll be absolutely fine. Okay, just before we start cutting the rest of the lawn, we've just noticed we've got some either animal damage or Robbie's been out with his golf club practicing his chipping. So I'm just going to show you a quick way to repair this without taking turf from somewhere else. Okay, so what I've got is I've got a couple of forks. If you've only got one of these, this will do, but for a small hole like this little one that you would use for like divoting a football pitch would be perfect. So we'll just stick that in there for now. So what we want to do is we just want to gently prise the other bits of turf closer to it. We're not actually putting anything in there, we're just gently moving this over and just dragging this over. And then what will happen is, because this is a fescue lawn, this will just recover itself. Okay, so there you go, nicely done. Just took a bit of extra time there just to finely tune it. But Jason just came over and asked where it was, so I think that means we've done a good job. Okay, so we're going to start the mower up shortly. Now, one good tip to getting a really straight line when you haven't got anything to go off is pick a point in the distance, don't take your eyes off it, don't blink, don't do anything, and just let your arms nice and relaxed on the mower, follow your point, and when you get to the other end, you'll look back and you'll have a really straight stripe. Look at that, how straight is that line? So remember, just pick a point in the distance and don't take your eyes off it and you'll be absolutely fine. So you've got a really straight stripe. Robbie's going to come now and continue with the good work.
No pressure.
Oh, lots of pressure, Robbie.
No
You've
pressure.
got a lot to live up to here. And one thing else you can do before the season starts, if you haven't already, and that is get your mower in for a service, either with a dealer or do it yourself.
You might be wondering why Daniel Hibbert was in my front lawn. Well, in this video, we've got more lawn care experts coming to give you advice and tips on how to get your lawn ready for spring. Let's go. We have Sean from Lawnright, Mark from The Lawnologist, Sam from Classic Gardens, Richard Salmon from Pro Lawn Care.
Time for a bit of unboxing.
In today's video, you're going to get a bit of a behind the scenes on a video that I've been working for months. We've been working really hard on this, and it's on the test patch. Part of my new test, I wanted to see if it's possible to grow grass in the... You're making a racket there.
I'm unboxing.
Part of my test, I wanted to see if it was possible to grow grass in the winter, and even the results have surprised us.
Definitely.
So you're going to see more of that later. You might be wondering what we're all doing here.
We're here to take part in season 2 of our sister channel, Roots to Revenue.
Yes, that's right. Last year, I started a new podcast called Roots to Revenue, and it's for small businesses just like my own. And we talk about the challenges of running a small business. Plus, there's always loads of actionable tips.
Yep. Today, our friends at Berthoud have partnered with us in this video and they've sent us this Berthoud Vermorel 3000.
By the way, which I'm a big fan of the brand because we have a lot of their sprayers already.
We do indeed. Now let's check out our sprayers. One for weed killer, one for seaweed, and a hard surface one. Thanks, Robbie. Alright, today we're checking out the Berthoud Vermorel 3000, a battery-powered backpack sprayer designed to make spraying easier, more efficient, and a lot less tiring. Ooh, it's telescopic. It goes from 60 centimetres to a metre as a standard telescopic lance, which gives you plenty of flexibility depending on where you're spraying. It's powered by a 12-volt lithium-ion battery that gives you around about 3 to 6.5 hours of spraying, depending on the pressure settings, or if you're Robbie, it could get a couple of days out of it. The best thing about it is it only takes about 2.5 hours to fully charge. Oh, there's 18 litres in there. The 18 litre capacity. The 18 litre tank. I'm going to say tank, not capacity. The 18 litre tank gives you plenty of capacity for the bigger jobs, and it's fitted with chemical resistant seals throughout so it can handle those aggressive solutions without breaking down. Now we're going to put the pressure settings up on the screen so you can pause it and have a good look.
Jason, you forgot about something. You forgot to tell them about all the extra nozzles that it comes with.
Now this is a quick tip for any sprayer that you use. It's best practice to give it a good rinse after use, as prolonged contact with chemicals can cause the seals to swell and not work its best over time. The main reason we like these Berthoud sprayers is the ergonomic design and these nice thick padding over your shoulders, which causes less fatigue. Now let's get some seaweed onto this test patch. I've even got an audience today. Time to hide this in the van from Robbie, because this is my sprayer now, because it's electric.
Hello guys, Mark from The Lawnologist. Now, following on from Daniel's clip where he showed you how to do some lovely stripes in the lawn with a lawnmower, I'm going to show you how to edge your edges. Right, so to start off with, I've got this. Robbie's given it to me. Doesn't look like it's been used before. So this will be interesting. I've never really edged a lawn before, so let's see how we get on. God, there's got to be an easier way of doing this. Every time I come here, Robbie gets me to do his garden and then nips off somewhere, and I'm left doing, it's not even my garden. It's got to be an easier way. Jason, give us a hand. Oh, thank you.
So with this, power head on, button, as usual. This ridge here is the cut line of the blade. So you just make sure that runs across the edge of your grass, and you've got a wheel here to rest on the grass so you're not actually holding the weight all the time.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, well, this is the first time I use this machine, so I must press that down there. Oh! Now that's decent. That is much better. Look at that. Dead easy. Now, it's getting a bit tricky now. So, really nice clear defined line. Robbie is going to be happy with that. But as I come further down here and the sleepers deteriorate, I'm a bit flummoxed as to what to do next. I've got a nice line here, but then this part here, I'm going to struggle with.
Back to a more traditional method.
He teases me with that nice edger, and I'm back to using this thing again. Oh well, only a bit to do. See how we get on. Too much like bloody hard work this is. I'm going to go back to that mechanical edger. That's much better. I'll get this done in minutes. this. It's going to take me all week. And off we go. So that is much better. Look at that. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with that machine. Now, if you've enjoyed this, stay tuned in because there's another lawn care legend coming and he's going to show you what else you can do with this lawn to make it look great for spring.
I'm Sam from Classic Gardens, and today I'm going to talk to you about why it's important at this time of the year to prune your trees for both the health of your lawn and for the health of the tree itself. So the work that we would do to this tree at this time of year, thinning the canopy, removing any dead, damaged and diseased branches, is not only going to improve the overall health of the tree, but also let more light down to the base of the tree, therefore improving the health of your lawn below. So a branch such as this over here is leaning down, pulling on the tree, and just overall creating a mess. If we take this off back to a growth point, it will improve the weight balance of the tree, but also provide a little bit more exposure for the light to get to the base of the tree and improve our lawn below. A branch such as this in the middle of the tree, it's not really providing any use to the tree. The fruit's not going to do very well on it. We should take this one off. A branch such as this that's growing in towards the inside of the tree is just going to fill up the inside of the canopy. It's not going to be very good for the overall weight distribution, wind resistance of the tree, and generally will cause problems. So we should take this off.
To give you a real quick behind the scenes, I currently have Richard Salmon over with us on the test patch this year. We're trying to grow grass through the winter, and Richard's going to talk you through some of his experiences of what we're doing wrong and right here.
Okay, thanks for that introduction, Robbie. And first of all, I wouldn't normally advise walking on a lawn covered in snow or frost because you will damage the grass, but I'm here visiting Robbie to this podcast. The conditions are what they are, and I'll try and show you to the best of my ability what we've got here, but I certainly wouldn't advise walking on a frosted lawn in normal conditions. So what we've got here, Robbie's done some experiments where he's tested sowing grass at different times of the year. Now normally, if you read any book on lawn care, they would suggest sowing grass March, April, May, maybe August, September, October, but we're sort of working outside the box now. We're talking about sowing grass at a time of year where you wouldn't normally expect to sow grass. If you said to me, when's the best time of year to sow grass, would you sow it in March or would you sow it in December? Surprisingly, I would say December. And the reason I say December is there's often still some warmth in the ground, there's moisture obviously, and compared to sowing it in the spring where whilst the soil might be getting a bit warmer, you're probably more likely to get longer days obviously, and warmer and drier days as well. So there's probably a better chance, in my experience, of grass establishing in December. If we look at the site we've got here, and we'll show you some of the different timings that Robbie has sown this grass, we've got some September sowing, some October sowing, November, and then we've got some November sowing under a germination fleece, and we've got some December sowing under a germination fleece, and we can see the different stages the grass is at, albeit not in ideal conditions for showing you because we've got a lot of frost and ice on the ground today, but it will show you the different stages and show you that you actually can establish grass even in December. And if we look at the December grass in a minute, the alternative would have been not to sow the grass in December, but wait until March or April time. But this grass will have much better head start than if we hadn't sown it and we had delayed it until March and April. So the different sections we've got here, this grass was sown in September and we can see it's quite a nicely established grass. Traditional time of year to sow grass, August, September, warmth in the ground, moisture, risk of drought has probably dissipated and it's established really nicely. Here we're now faced with the situation when we sow the grass a little bit later. We're now into October now, and you can see the grass is a bit further behind the September sowing. Day length would have been decreasing, the soil temperature would have been decreasing, so we haven't got quite the emergence or the establishment that we have gone with the September sowing.
Somebody didn't feel it in October.
Robbie has admitted that whilst he fed the September one, the October grass was sown and it wasn't fed. And it just shows the benefit of a little bit of nutrient around the root when it's establishing means that once it produces 1, 2, 3 leaves, it's got more chance of producing more tillers if it's got more food around the root. So this one wasn't fed, so it's a little bit thinner than it would have been. If we move over to a time of year where probably you wouldn't be sowing grass, we're now into the November sowing. Now this was sown in November. There is grass at the 1 to 2 leaf stage, so we've already got a head start. So we could have chosen not to sow that, but that grass seed would still be sat in the bag doing nothing. At least it's in the ground and it's got a head start. But normally we wouldn't sow in November, but we're showing that you can sow it in November, and we're showing that it can establish, it will germinate and establish and give you a head start over the spring. This one's slightly different in the fact that it was sown at the same time.
So we're lifting this cover for the first time.
What are we going to see, Robbie?
Yeah. I'm hoping grass. Oh, well, there you go.
You can see. Okay, the benefit of this is there's no frost on that because it's been protected by the fleece, but there is grass emergence, and that grass, once we take the fleece off in the next few weeks and you get some sunlight to it, that will also then start to thicken out. Of course, we can also broadcast more seed over the surface. If we feel it's not thick enough, we can do a little bit more to help it become a little bit thicker, but that's got a head start on grass that would not have been sown normally. Robbie could have taken the decision, oh, it's too cold, it's the wrong time of year, I'll leave it in the bag. We've got a head start. It started. Then, that was November. We're now looking at the December sowing.
See, these haven't first time.
This is the first time. Well, look at that. That's December. That's less than a month ago.
10th or 12th of
Look at that.
December.
12th of December. That's virtually 4 weeks to the day. You would not expect grass seed to germinate in December. But I think it just shows you how mild our winters are. We tend to get our winters in January, February, like now, and the lead up to Christmas tends to be really mild, and soil temperatures are still sort of hovering around the sort of 6-7 degrees mark, which is okay for germination, which has been proved in this experiment here. Grass seed will germinate, and it has germinated, and that has got a much better chance of establishing into a lawn than us waiting until March, April time. We'll be mowing this in March and April, whereas if you'd have followed the guidebook, we wouldn't have been sowing this until March or April. So this shows, don't be put off by the fact that you can sow that late in the year, and there's still grass seed coming through. I mean, look there, there's literally just breaking through the surface. So there's still grass seed germinating. Probably won't be doing too much in the way of growth or germinating today because it is very cold, but we know how fickle our weather is. We'll get a northerly wind for the next few days, and it will change to southwesterly, and we'll get some warmth again, and then this grass will start growing again. So I think in summary, sowing of grass is more about soil moisture than temperature.
Right, we're going to be doing some aerating. So I've got this garden fork here, and I've got this. Robbie's given me this. Don't quite know what this is. So when we're talking about aeration, there's two types of aeration. We've got solid tine aeration, which is like a garden fork, where you've got these solid pieces of metal. And what we do, this is what your grandparents used to do. You'd push them into the ground.
Give it a wiggle.
I can't believe Robbie's got me doing this. I've come all the way to Ireland. Oh, there we go. So what you're doing, you're relieving compaction in the ground. But the problem with solid tines is it's pushing soil further down into the ground, which is actually increasing compaction as a result. So I'll just crack on with the rest of this garden. So we're aerating this area because it's a high traffic area. Generally where you step onto the lawn is one of the most used areas, and this is more likely to wear down and to get more compacted. But there is an easier way of aerating your lawn. So we can use a machine, and a machine will make your life so much easier.
Here to make Sean's life a bit easier.
Sean told me that he's never used one of these before.
Never used one of them. I can't afford one.
This is a greenkeeper switch. Not everyone's going to have one of these here, and we don't have any worm casts to show you, but we do get a lot of questions coming out of the winter about how to deal with worm casts in your garden. So this works very easily.
Can't believe he's doing some work.
Right.
This is the most work Robbie's done all day.
This type of tool is used by greenkeepers to take worm casts off of the ground before they cut it, or alternatively, if they cut a bit of grass and there's debris lying on the lawn, they would use this here You can also use it to take the dew off, apart from it's pretty hard work. So I'm going to show you another quick way that if you have worm cast on your lawn, that's really effective. So let's go and do that now. So the brush is a really useful tool. You can also stripe your lawn with it in the winter. Unfortunately, I've just taken my nice stripes out of the lawn using it. But I'm going to get Sean to do some more work again. So let's do that now.
So these are the hollow tines, and these actually punch a hole in the ground and eject the soil out. So a hollow tine machine is actually pulling a core of soil out of the ground, and that's relieving compaction, and it allows the holes to close, which loosens the surrounding soil.